I know it's not just me, but is anybody else applying for jobs and not hearing anything bad?
Can anyone tell me why on earth I applied to 100 jobs in the last 2 weeks and heard back from none?
3,000. That's the number of jobs I've applied to as of today.
The fact that the job market has turned into a humiliation ritual over the past several years is one of, if not the worst parts of corporate America and capitalism in general.
I have never seen a job market like this, ever.
The highest she can pay me is $12.58. That's a combo from McDonald's.
Everybody keeps saying the economy is doing okay. They'll point to unemployment numbers, say jobs are still being added, and act like everything is normal. But then you go online and see people with college degrees applying to 300 jobs with no callbacks. You see tech workers getting laid off after years of stability. You see recent graduates moving back home. You see people working jobs they're overqualified for just to survive.
And to everybody who asks me, why do you still work at Amazon if you don't like it? Why you been there for 2 years you don't like working there? Because nobody else hiring.
And suddenly there's this weird disconnect between what the headlines are saying and what people are actually starting to live through. Companies are posting jobs they may not even be urgently hiring for. Entry-level jobs now want 3 to 5 years of experience, and employers are moving slower because they're scared of this economy. So in today's video, I want to break down why the job market feels so broken right now, and why I think the issue could get even worse before it gets better. Let's talk about it.
You guys, the job market just keeps getting worse. I'm seeing posts on LinkedIn like this now. And mind you, I've been seeing posts for months of people being like, I've submitted thousands of applications. I haven't heard anything. But this person's quite literally begging. I blocked their name out because they deserve to keep that private. That's insane. Part of the reason that I think this is such a big issue is the fact that we're still all relying so heavily on these corporate businesses to hold us up. I just want to encourage everybody that if you're in this space and you have marketable skills that you could be using to either, I don't know, make a consultancy, a small business of some sort, supporting other small businesses, making your own products, doing things for yourself, now's the time. Now's the time. I'm doing that myself. It's very difficult, obviously, but at the same time, I know that I don't have to rely on corporate anymore. It's the only benefit being laid off gave to me. So if you're in this same position, it's potentially time to start thinking about finding a way to start your own business, because corporate companies are not going to save you, unfortunately. Sucks.
The job market is only going to get worse. And here is exactly why in the next few years it's going to get worse for candidates. Especially in 2026, there's going to be a huge number of layoffs. That's both from big companies like Amazon and JP Morgan all the way to the mid-level size companies. And even though they're profitable and having record sales, they are still cutting jobs. And the reason for this is they want to increase their profit margins for stakeholder value, and they're going to do that by employing agents, not people. Now, to start with, this is only going to be for entry-level roles, but it will creep up through the ranks. On top of that, job boards have completely changed. 5 years ago, you could go on a job board like LinkedIn or Indeed, you could apply for a job, and you most likely get an email. Nowadays, job boards are just fully automated, they're full of bots and fake job posts. And it gives this fake impression that the job market is healthy, there's lots of opportunities, but the reality is majority of them are not even real. You have internal hiring increasing, so basically companies employing their own employees. And you also have a lot of bot and pretend jobs to gather data, inflating the job numbers and making it look like it's easier, but it actually isn't. It's actually the opposite. It's getting worse. And finally, we're now in a generation where everybody has a degree. Everybody has the same qualifications. 30, 40 years ago, having a degree meant something. It was valuable and it was rare because not many people had it. But with the information accessible so instantly in today's generation, everybody can learn every skill, which means that everything gets diluted. That obviously increases the talent pool, and it also increases the competition between candidates, despite a slowing growth of jobs available. Now, all three of those elements have been happening for the last 2 or 3 years, but now it's accelerated. And the scary thing is, it's only going to get worse throughout 2027 and 2028. Now, of course, nobody can predict the future and what's actually going to happen. But what I have a gut feeling about is that there's going to be a huge paradigm shift. There is going to be a segmentation of people and classes. And I'll probably make a part 2 explaining what I mean by that. But if you've watched to the end of this video and you're worrying about the future of your job, then you need to do one thing. The biggest change that I've made in my personal life, and I've seen hundreds of successful people do the same, is building a personal brand. Because building a personal brand is the only value that you can truly intrinsically have. Because as humans, we are unique. We have imagination, we have creativity. And AI will never be able to replace that. So if you are genuinely worried about your future of your job, start building a personal brand and a reputation now, and start developing a network. So then people know who you are and why you exist. And that is something that no one can take from you.
One of the biggest problems right now isn't even massive layoffs. It's that companies simply aren't hiring the way they used to. That's what makes this situation so deceptive. The government reported that the US added 178,000 jobs in March, which sounds healthy on paper, but when you dig deeper, hiring activity has slowed significantly. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported total hires fell to 4.8 million in February, down nearly 500,000 in just 1 month. And if nobody quits because they're scared and companies don't hire replacements, everything becomes frozen. That's why people are sending hundreds of applications and hearing absolutely nothing back. And when hiring slows down this much, young professionals and recent graduates usually get hit first because companies view them as riskier hires.
As bad as the job market is, it's gonna get worse. Jack Dorsey and Roelof Botha think AI can make middle management obsolete. So Jack Dorsey, he was the former owner of Twitter, and Roelof Botha was the other name in this article. I know nothing about him. Basically, they're saying that AI is gonna make middle management obsolete. So if my math is serving me here, no more entry-level jobs, no more middle management. That would mean the only jobs left will be like the highest ranking executives of a company. Wow, what a convenient prediction for the highest ranking executives of companies to make. You ever notice how CEOs love to say stuff like, yeah, actually in the future, the only job that will be safe and truly irreplaceable will be mine. Look, that's just science. It's not lost on me that all the people who are making this like doom and gloom proclamations for the job market and like how bad jobs are and how bad like recent graduates and young people are about getting jobs, they're all old rich people. Interesting how none of these kind of big billionaires or CEOs come out to be like, yeah, actually, according to my calculations, AI is going to replace me. Damn, that sucks.
I know it's not just me, but is anybody else applying for jobs and not hearing anything back? And I'm not surprised because in February alone, the United States lost 92,000 jobs, and they were expecting us to gain 126,000 jobs. And now unemployment is sitting at 4.4%, and people want to keep saying the economy's strong. But if the economy is so strong, why does the job market feel like a ghost town? Because if you're out here applying for jobs, you notice something really strange. There are plenty of job postings out there, but the companies act like they're not really hiring. And until the government and the job market gets itself together, we're going to continue to see this decline. So I want to ask, have you all been impacted by the job market lately? Are you applying and getting nowhere? Or are you actually like seeing some progress? And if you're seeing progress, let us just know how you're doing that. Because I'm telling you, I'm not seeing any progress, just a whole bunch of I applied.
So can anyone tell me why on earth I applied to 100 jobs in the last 2 weeks and heard back from none? I literally knew the job market was bad, but I didn't think as a business major and a USC graduate, it would be this hard. It doesn't help that the gas in my city literally shot up $6 a gallon. Like, what the heck? Like, this economy and job market got me asking my mom to send me $50 a week.
3,000. That's the number of jobs I've applied to as of today. 3,000 jobs. During the course of the year and a half that I've been out of work after a injury that happened on the job, trying to find another job has been so difficult. Now, mind you, I have 25 years experience as a sales manager,
Wow.
29 years as an event manager.
Wow.
I'm well overqualified for any job I apply to, but yet for some reason, over the course of me applying to 3,000 jobs, I've only had 9 interviews. And I've had maybe 15 callbacks, and all the other ones are fake. These days, you have to actually look at the actual website versus Indeed or LinkedIn, but both of those sites are basically worthless. They're now becoming social media sites where it's more about popularity versus an actual job. So I'm just putting it out there. Tomorrow is my birthday.
Oh, happy
It would
birthday.
be really nice if I could find work. So I'm putting that out there to the gods above. There's only so much resources that I can use before I run out of money. And frankly, the market is that bad. Is anybody else having that problem? I'd love to hear your story.
For years, people were told to go to college, get a degree, and build your resume. Now people are graduating into one of the weirdest labor markets we've seen in years. A lot of entry-level jobs are demanding ridiculous experience requirements, and many graduates are now competing against laid-off professionals who've already had years of experience. Imagine being 22 years old, competing against someone who has been in corporate America for 8 years. And because rent is high, car prices are high, groceries are high, many graduates are moving back in with family. That's why so many young people feel behind right now. It's not always poor decision making. A lot of people entered adulthood during a very unstable economic period. And I believe that frustration is going to reshape how younger generations view college, careers, and corporate loyalty. All right, let's read some comments. I've been unemployed and looking since 2022, probably 1K apps and 10 interviews, and just ghosted every time. No feedback, no anything. SMH, I give up on job hunting. I truly feel like this is a humiliation ritual for Gen Z. And I do apologize for anybody that's going through this right now because I know how painful it is. Having to go through this process and just get ghosted, it's really frustrating because you're actually putting in effort, but nobody can really tell because it's all online. And the interviews that you're trying to get aren't even accepting you. I'm so down bad, I paid for an interview, still didn't get the job. That $50 could have went to something else. Having to pay for an interview in 2026 is crazy. Hopefully you didn't get scammed. That sounds like a scam, my guy. 3 jobs, I'm 18, barely can pay my rent, and I have a roommate, we split the cost, and still struggling to make it by. If I didn't have government aid, we'd be going hungry every night. Well, the good news is you have a roommate. A lot of people do not have roommates and they're suffering alone. So the fact that you have someone to help you with bills is already a step. And I'm sure you're not the only one that's in this exact same situation. Hang in there. Posting ghost jobs should be a felony. I agree. I feel like it's much more common to see ghost jobs because these scammers know that people are desperate. So they're gonna try to fish, they're gonna try to pull you in, they're gonna try to charge you for interviews. That's just crazy to me. Going back to that last comment. But please be careful because there's a lot of scams out there. Interviewing someone knowing the position has already been filled should be illegal. I agree. I think these employers really just like to troll. I truly think that some of these employers get off to wasting time. Pause. I have been in the culinary industry since 1997 with plenty of experience. I'm 48 years old.
Damn.
I've never been denied by so many jobs ever. Something is not right. Are we living in the 80s again? Couldn't tell you. I'm much too young to have been experienced those golden times before the internet and social media, but y'all let me know, were the 80s bad as well? If the person hiring you is taking notes during an interview, it's a bad sign. They're not taking notes. They're just doodling and waiting for the interview to end because you won't be hired anyways. I think we all need to start asking the interviewer to see the notes that they're taking just to confirm they're actually jotting down key points that we talked about, because this might be true. Like I mentioned in that last comment, this might be true. They might just be taking notes or acting like they're taking notes to look more professional. Gen Z always wants to do the easy thing. You get to create your own good time with more job opportunity instead of relying on loyalty. Workforce people are not someone you should stay loyal to. Here is my advice. First, accept the fact that AI and robots are taking over, and there's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is start learning as much as you can about AI, STEM, advanced computer science, and business, and start your own business and create a service or product that the masses are willing to pay for. I stand by this comment 100%, but the problem is a lot of people, Gen Z, are in the phase of adulthood where they have to take care of these things or prioritize these finances where they don't have time to set aside to learn all this before it's too late. But this is really good advice. Sometimes you need to swallow your pride to eat. It's not easy out here, but some income is better than being homeless. I agree. A lot of people don't want to work, but sometimes you need to swallow that pill and do the job so that you don't have to be in other situations, aka homeless. I don't think being homeless is worth it.
And what really grinds my gears in this finding a job world that I hate so bad. You can have all the experience in the world. You could be the best dressed out of all the people in a group interview. You can have your resume in your hand and nobody else has a resume. You could be the best talker if you are. I'm not a good talker, but you could be the best everything. Most experience, better experience, etc. Then you get the rejection email and it's like, oh, you were the best person. Like literally you were the best of the best. Like we almost went with you. We almost did. Just to let you know, we were finna pick you. But somebody else just got a little bit of edge on you. You got the best experience. You're the most determined. We loved everything you said. I love the fact that you're a go-getter and you're a hard worker. You got all this experience. But somebody else a little bit over ahead of you. But we're gonna keep your application. We're gonna keep your application on file. You can have other. Applications. You could have other jobs here that pay a lot less. Well, you could, but we might not give it to you though. But we'll put you on file for that, baby. Now you got me in the corner with a bucket of water, coming from my tears. I didn't feel like crying today. If you would have rejected me in the email and left it alone, I probably wouldn't have cried in the corner with a bucket of water as tears. But the fact that you told me I was one of the best and you were almost going to pick me and you really was picking me, but then you didn't pick me because you wanted to go with the other person, it's gonna make me cry some more. Cause it's just like, don't butter me up. I'm not popcorn.
And to everybody who asks me, why do you still work at Amazon if you don't like it? Why you been there for 2 years, you don't like working there? Bitch, cause nobody else fucking hiring. Do you really think that I haven't been looking for other jobs? If you've been paying attention, you know that the job market is horrible right now. Once I can find a job that's paying $20 an hour plus, and you don't need no degree for it, I'm gone. But for right now, I'm gonna stay at my job so I can make some money. I bet it's 90% of us at jobs that we don't fucking like. And we put up with it, but we gonna complain a little bit while we at it too, just to get through the day. So I'm gonna keep my job so I can find something else. Thank you.
So, just getting back in the car for my very important job interview at the mall. So, you wanna know how I know that the job market is crappy? Yeah. So, I got years of experience. This is not to bash anybody at all. I just want to tell you how crappy the job market is in America. This woman told me that the highest that she can pay me based off my experience, based off just my experience alone. I got years of it, okay? Retail, okay? The highest she can pay me is $12.58. That's a combo from McDonald's. Not even Chick-fil-A, baby. That's a combo from McDonald's. $12.58. America, how do you want people to survive with this? What's going on?
Even when people do everything they're supposed to do and finally secure the job, a lot of these salaries simply don't stretch in the way they used to. And that becomes very obvious once real life starts hitting. You get your first apartment quote and realize rent is eating a huge portion of your income. You look at your car payments and insurance costs. Your day-to-day groceries feel noticeably more expensive. Your student loan payments hit, taxes hit, and suddenly that salary number that looked exciting on paper starts feeling very average. There are people making salaries that would have sounded amazing 5 or 10 years ago, and they still feel financially stressed. People are starting to question traditional career paths because the reward doesn't always feel worth the sacrifice anymore. That's why so many younger people are becoming more interested in content creation, entrepreneurship, side hustles, freelancing, all this other gig work, because the traditional path doesn't seem very predictable anymore. And I just wish people understood more that Gen Z, they're still looking for flexibility, but they're also looking for income that actually feels like it can build a life, a real sustainable life. Because for many people right now, employment isn't just about getting hired anymore. It's about whether the paycheck can actually support adulthood. So here on Fred, on the Federal Reserve Bank website, we can see the average hourly earnings of all employees. And this was published on March 2026, so this is pretty relevant. The average earnings is $37.38 an hour. Now, for a lot of people, that might seem okay. But since the prices of everything has gone up, the things I mentioned earlier, rent, groceries, all these bills that we all have to cover, that doesn't really sound attractive anymore when we have all these other wages increasing as well. So if we can see a big dip in the consumer spending or the consumer expenses, then the hourly or the average hourly earnings of this trajectory will be just fine.
We need to be more honest about the current state of this economy and the job market because not enough of us are actually sharing the truth. I'm going to tag the creator who inspired me to even share my point of view on the topic as Casanova Brown. So go to his page and watch his video because he shares a really honest perspective about this topic. And what he essentially was saying is that the current state of the job market is essentially manufactured. Like this whole thing around job scarcity, and so many people in the job market can't find jobs. Like they're going 6 months, 1 month, 2 years, just a really long time, longer than usual, that people are going without a job. The person that always say with a job, they ain't got one. You know what I mean? So that's where it's a problem. And based on what I can see, I can tell you a few things, and I think I'm going to give you 3 main points. And the first one's going to be this: I agree with the job scarcity is manufactured. And the reason why is because I believe that, and this is my opinion only, I believe that there is a force that a lot of these organizations, corporations are forcing people into the job market, creating less full-time positions, but creating more contract work. And the reason why is because full-time employees are expensive. So working for a US-based employer and you are a US-based worker, you have to understand, right? Inflation is crazy right now, and it has been for a while. So that means it's going to cost more. We're going to ask for more. We're going to request more. And In good faith, an organization has to at least give you a merit increase like every year, right? So when you forego hiring full-time employees and you move into a contract type situation, that's less that they have to pay in benefits. That's less liability for them as well, because there are certain laws, labor laws, like that they don't have to necessarily like worry about. And so I think that they're essentially just forcing many of us into a situation where, you know what, yeah, we're going to create this manufactured job scarcity so that you don't find a full-time role and you have to go back into the workforce as a contractor so that way we can get the same work for less. Now, the second thing that I will say, and what I'm noticing, is that a lot of organizations, this users only really see this in customer service based type of organizations or departments, right? You have BPOs. This means that organizations are outsourcing the work. So when you call AT&T, T-Mobile, whoever on the phone, you get somebody who may be overseas, right? This doesn't mean that they can't do the job just as well as someone who is based in the US. But what it means is, again, instead of hiring 10 full-time employees for their contact center, they're hiring 50 for half the price of those 10. Okay. So they can hire literally like 20, 100 contract workers for like $2,000 overseas. In the US, that's $200,000. Right? So they're looking at it from the perspective of, yeah, like we still need labor. So don't be fooled. These companies are still hiring, right? They're just not hiring they're not hiring full-time employees. They're hiring contractors. And the same, like the rules that would apply to hiring a full-time employee don't apply to a contract worker. That's my 2 cents. And I'm hoping that eventually this is something that we can sound the alarm on. Because if they're not hiring us, like, what do we do? What do we do?
I honestly wonder what the job market is going to look like from now in like 5 years, because AI is moving fast. We all know this. And I don't think most people fully understand how much uncertainty that creates. I'm not one of those people that thinks every job is going to disappear overnight. I don't think robots are going to replace everybody next year like Wall-E or something. But I do think companies are paying attention to how much labor they can cut. If a company realizes AI can help one employee do the work of 3 people, what happens to those extra positions? What happens to entry-level workers trying to get experience? What happens to college graduates trying to break into industries that are already shrinking? And we're already seeing companies experiment with smaller teams while expecting more productivity. This all feels like we're watching the beginning of a larger change in how work itself operates.
We're currently in one of the most unfair job markets that we've seen in modern history. Look, not only in this market, not only do you have to be great at your job, you have to be a master at marketing. You have to know SEO. You have to be able to optimize things. You have to be a great salesperson and be able to position yourself as a leading candidate when everybody looks the same. You have to be a finance master to be able to understand financials and how to articulate offers in this market and how to negotiate things. And the more I look at this stuff, the more I look at all the things that you have to be great at that don't have anything to do with the role that you're actually applying for, anything to do with your profession, the more I think maybe outsourcing your job search to someone else isn't that bad of an idea. Because the thing is, these are just things you have to do to get an interview. Most of you guys can get the job if you just got an opportunity, but you can't even get through the noise because you have to be a master at so many things just to get an opportunity. What if there was a way to just have someone book interviews for you and then you just show up and do your thing and get hired?
That'd be nice.
That's how the job search should be done.
The job market is so trash right now because nobody quit. Nobody is quitting their jobs no more. Everybody is starting to come to their senses. Everybody's starting to say, man, look, as much as I don't like coming here every day, nah, nigga, I need this shit because I know it's somebody out there be right now it's been 3 to 6 months and they ain't had no job. I know time I catch an attitude in it hoe at the wrong person. Like, it's over with for me. That's part of the reason why the job market trash, fam. Ain't nobody trying to leave their job no more. I remember you can goddamn apply for Amazon. You see 100 openings. But hell nah. You can goddamn go to FedEx. You can go to a warehouse. You can go to a warehouse next day. You go through a temp service to get a job next day. Nah, it ain't that easy now. Niggas like, but hell no, boy. Don't get it fucked up. But I have days where I hate coming in there, hoe. But I'm keeping my damn job. At least until I find another one or something better. Hell, it became to the point where motherfuckers don't quit their job until they first their orientation at another job.
On November 5th is when I got laid off from my job. Today is my first day working the job since then. And it's definitely not from a lack of trying. I'm going to let you know right now, if you know anybody who is looking for a job right now, when they tell you that the job market is absolutely disgusting, it is horrible, it is trash, believe them. And if you are somebody who has been working at their job for like years, like you ain't had to look for a job in the last 2-3 years, please shut up. Just shut up. I don't know what it is about people who have not had to endure this job market. When you try to tell them about the job market, they start saying the most obvious shit ever. Like, you need to get on Indeed. Like, oh, for real? Tell me more. And it's like, I don't know why it just comes out like word vomit. Like, you need to work from home. I'm sorry, is that optional? Can I just do that? Can I go outside and just wave my hands? Oh, I want to work from home. Somebody just drop a laptop in my hand? Like, it's the craziest thing when you tell people about this job market. You need to get you a government job. Like, as if they act like it's just on you. Run your resume through AI. They say, I'm like, I can tell that you ain't had to do this, have you? It's obvious. It just pisses you off. You will lose friends the way that these people will talk to you about the job market. I saw a job posting that required a bachelor's degree in chemistry and was paying $13 an hour.
It's not worth it.
Shut up about the job market if you ain't been in it. Oh, and when you do find a job, you're not going to be making really anything. Whatever you were used to making before you lost it, forget about it.
I think this generation is learning something older generations learned in a hard way. A company can praise you on Friday and eliminate your role on Monday. That emotional attachment to corporations is dying. And honestly, I understand why. People watch layoffs happen at major corporations while executives still receive bonuses. People watch companies overhire during boom periods and then cut workers later. People are realizing stability can disappear overnight. That's why job hopping has become more normalized. That's why people are monetizing their skills online. And as much as I enjoyed making that one TikTok video of these creators getting demonetized and not making as much money, this is what we're seeing more people do and transition towards because they're trying to build more income off of the uncertainty in corporate.
Not gonna lie, the job market right now is absolutely terrible. If you have a job, keep that job. Like, I'm all for quitting a job you don't like, but I have never seen a job market like this, ever. The amount of ghosting done by like recruiters and people who work at companies, it's just so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful. And unfortunately, I am so delusional. So every job that I move forward with, I'm like, okay, I can see myself here. And I start planning my life around here. Now I'm at the point where it's like, I don't even get my hopes up. I try to forget about it as soon as I apply. I literally feel like I'm auctioning myself off. Like, I feel like I'm on the dating scene. It is absolutely incredibly terrible. And don't even get me started on LinkedIn. Like, I can literally make a separate video about this, but I am starting to despise LinkedIn. I used to be a LinkedIn warrior. Like, that's how I found all of my jobs. But LinkedIn is no longer about networking. I swear LinkedIn has become like another Facebook or like an Instagram.
Yep.
Like, you go on LinkedIn and you update like your accomplishments and things like that, but it just feels so personal. And then every post that I see is another person being like, oh yeah, like I got laid off. Can you please share this? And it's just like, that's all my feed is. I got laid off, or I'm getting married, or my son graduated. It's not even a networking platform anymore.
Job market is so bad. Y'all tell me why I just applied to be a special agent for the FBI. Because at this point, it is what it is.
It is so hard to find a job right now. Like, it's like nothing out here. The job market is stupid. Like, I almost always know if I go to an interview whether or not I'm gonna like the job, or like, you know what I'm saying, or if this is some bullshit. I almost know. So when I walk in and like If you call me and tell me, oh, we want to give you an interview, they tell me about the business, and then when I get here, there's like, oh, this is just a preliminary. No, you're trying to gauge whether or not I like this job or not, which I know I'm probably not going to like already. If this is a preliminary interview, you're asking me questions like, oh, what do you do? And then you get in to say like, oh, we want somebody who has good work ethic and, a good drive. That's all cool, but you're only saying that because this position requires me to be standing on my feet or like outside trying to get customers to come into what you guys want them to buy into. No, this is not what the motherfucking, the details on that job application was saying. You know what I'm saying? I almost always know. Like I went in, I still gave my best foot, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, okay, well, this is perfect. You're could you come back tomorrow for another interview? I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. I know for sure I'm not coming back because in this preliminary interview, they don't give you any details about what the actual fucking job is. Online, it just says customer service. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I need something simple, nothing crazy, something really part-time. That way I can work, still do my business. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. No. This is not what this is. Y'all want me outside bumping my feet to the pavement. Bitch, I'm not doing it.
The fact that the job market has turned into a humiliation ritual over the past several years is one of, if not the worst parts of corporate America and capitalism in general. The fact that you have to send hundreds of applications out there, you reach out to recruiters, you message people, you get ghosted, people tell you all these great things about how great of an interview you had, you feel like you're vibing with a recruiter, you're vibing with a hiring manager, and then all of a sudden you don't hear anything, or you wait 3 weeks or so because you thought you had a great interview, but really you're just being put on their bench and they had already offered to someone else and they're waiting to see if that person offered. So if they didn't take the offer, now they can maybe come back to you. But if the roles were reversed, then you would be X'd out as a candidate and probably deemed as unhireable. And it's crazy too, because, the Stanford prison experiment where when you give people a modicum of power, how much they abuse it. And that's what it feels like in some of the interviews where people will talk at you and talk down to you and have zero idea really of what's going on right now. And because they have a job and in a lot of situations the other person doesn't, they feel like they have all the leverage and power to just be a dick, to pick apart their resume or their experience or to treat the interview I don't know, some sort of psychological warfare. I mean, it's God, this is a fucking job interview, guys. We're not trying to save the fucking world. We're just trying to be employed to have enough money to survive. Right. It's literally it. Why are we treating this shit like it's that important? I saw some recruiter and it's LinkedIn and everybody's being performative, but she was saying how she had posted a job and after 24 hours, only one person of the hundreds and thousands that applied reached out to her. And because they reached out to her, that person got the job. But here's the thing. If you're mass applying, and I get it, I would always tell people to message people on LinkedIn to try to connect because I really think it's important. But the fact that there's such a double standard where some people get mad at you for reaching out and others don't, it's how do you navigate this fucking landmine? And I understand why people get so frustrated because it's I can't win. I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't, and I'm still getting fucked either way.
The scary part about this job market is that it's not completely collapsing. It just feels like people are trying to plan their future while the rules keep changing in real time. And I think that's where a lot of the anxiety comes from. It's not that people suddenly became lazy. It's not that nobody wants to work. A lot of people are just looking around and realizing the path that used to feel stable doesn't feel as guaranteed anymore. For a long time, people believed if you worked hard enough, eventually things would make sense. Now, a lot of people are working hard and still questioning where all this is actually leading. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to comment down below your thoughts on the job market in 2026 to be featured in my next video on this playlist. I am currently in the process of making a Discord community. It should be done sometime this week, but I'll post a link in the announcement tab once it's finalized. If you made it to the end, YouTube recommends this may be your next best watch. Otherwise, I'll recommend a video related to this topic. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm out.